Welcome once again to Social Currents. It is Friday, 1 p.m. in Hong Kong. My name is Oatway. I am the author of the books Mastering Story, Community, and Influence, How to Use Social Media to Become a Social Leader. I'm also one of the founding members of HK Social, a local breakfast meetup, which means first Friday of every month, to discuss the latest and greatest in social media. We're now 800 members strong. But we found that meeting once a month wasn't enough. So every week now we do Social Currents, the show you're watching now. And with me I have a few of my lovely HK Social cohorts. First up is Jocelyn Liipfert, who is the head of social at TBWA's Digital Arts Network here in Hong Kong. I have also Andrew Leyden, who's a serial entrepreneur, startup guy, writes cool apps to track pollution for us here in Hong Kong, all-round Uber geek, G+ user, on Twitter, on pretty much everything I know, and really plugged into the tech scene here in Hong Kong and the startup scene. Great to have you, Andrew. And also Bullock, formerly head of social for a large Hong Kong-based brand, now doing social good, saving us all. Thank you, Ali. Working at World Wildlife Fund as their head of communications. We're hoping to see lots of cool projects coming from him this year. So, on with the show. Today, we are talking about Facebook chairs versus Redbull Livejump. And so we're going to start first with having a little bit of a look here at the Facebook video, the things that connect us. And I'm going to try and play that from the beginning and see how we do. I have no idea if there's going to be any sound of that or if anybody can even see that. How are you guys doing, Fanny? Can you see that?
Not on the main screen.
Is it playing down in the little corner one for you?
Can't really tell.
I can't really tell either. All right. Try every week. Really do.
Playing.
You can see it. Playing. Anyways, and we're not hearing it for some reason. Right. So this is a sort of the first ad that Facebook has ever done, and it really wasn't designed to be shown on TV. It's designed to be shown on the internet, and the basic idea behind it here is that Facebook thinks of itself as more than just a website, but rather part of some greater human desire to connect us all to the universe and beyond. So it starts off with a little concept of how Facebook's like chairs, and people can sit in it and share things, but then it expands it out to everything else in the world, and we're all super uber connected. So what do we think? I mean, when you guys see Facebook, do you feel that way? Do you feel it's the thing that's connecting us all? Is it as good as a chair? Jocelyn, you work for an ad agency. Would you guys have made something like this?
Well, I guess back to your first question. I mean, I guess I agree with the idea that, Facebook has become totally ubiquitous and has kind of like spawned, the whole new age of social networking and all that kind of thing. But I just felt a little bit underwhelmed by the spot. I felt like when I read about this spot before I actually saw it, and so I guess I had pretty high expectations, but then when I saw it, I just felt like it was a little bit obvious for someone like Facebook, and I would have expected them to do something a little bit more disruptive and market leading. So that's kind of my feel on it, but I don't know, what did you guys think?
reminded me of the Jerry Seinfeld ads for Microsoft where they ate a churro with Bill Gates. It had about as much to do with a churro as Microsoft. I watched it in disbelief. Like
I think the Microsoft one was even better though. I mean,
Yeah, at least I
at that point they were trying to break out of this box of being like this stiff, stuffy old company that didn't listen to anybody, and the Jerry Seinfeld wandering around with the, I think, shortly retired Bill Gates at that point. It was fun. It was fresh. It kind of made us think of Microsoft sort of differently. I don't know if this video makes me think of Facebook differently. It just makes me think, wow, I think Facebook wasted a ton of money. And once again, I'm thinking they're taking their eye off the ball, which is spend the money on Facebook.
Yeah, this ad could have been a lot better if they had just focused on a true real world example. Like, if I was writing this ad, I would have shown guys in the streets of Egypt or Tunisia, saying, look what happened when people talk to each other. Dictators fall, people get together, new worlds develop. Instead, talking about Facebook is like chairs. I harkened back to Shrek, and it's like, ogres are like onions. I was like, huh? That's all. But
All right, I got another one I want to show you. Are chairs like Facebook? Now, this was a spoof that was done. This was a spoof that was done right after our chairs like Facebook, and oh crap. Our chairs like Facebook. They the idea on this one. Are you guys seeing this one?
Yeah, we can see it.
If I do that, do you see it?
No.
Interesting how it doesn't let you go full screen and share it that way, and the pages won't let you share YouTube videos. So anyways, you'll have to watch it like that. But basically, it's saying that chairs are good for all sorts of things, like sitting around doing heroin. And then they talk about all these other things. Yeah, there you are. There's the heroin. There's and they just really take the Mickey of the whole dumb things that you can do in chairs, and they're really pointing out the overuse of stock footage and goofy items, and they just start doing things that have no relevance whatsoever to Facebook, and you start to realize that maybe the same was true with that ad, that what the hell were they talking about? There was very little in there that's it's holding hands and holding hugs. So yes.
It is a terrible advert, let's be honest. It's a very, very...
Chairs. No, that's not a chair. That's a stool.
It's a stool. Came from an American ad agency. You can't expect them to know different between a stool.
And then, of course,
hey now.
with that as well came a Tumblr page called the rlikefb.tumblr. Are you guys, who's a Tumblr fan?
only if it's cute.
Yeah, do any of you have Tumblr pages?
What if it's got animals on it, like dogs, pandas? I don't look at anything on Tumblr.
Is that just your answer to everything, Allie?
Yeah, dogs or pandas.
So yes, so standoffs, Star Trek standoffs are like Facebook. Space divers are like Facebook. We'll get back to Felix in a minute. Lonely Teslas are like Facebook. Malaysian footbridges are like Facebook. Shuttle crossings are like Facebook, and it just keeps going. And they just have every sort of pop art picture up there are like Facebook. And you have to wonder a little bit, has Facebook jumped the shark? Allie?
It has. Well, that advert it has. I mean, let's be honest, that advert's terrible. It's middle of the road, very, very bland. It's become corporate America. I think the kind of the view with Microsoft is so very true. That's the sort of ad I expect to see from HP or Microsoft. Not a cool advert from, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, 1 billion fans on Facebook kids. It's almost like they're kids trying to be adults. It's a very adult commercial. It feels very sort of like a Volvo, and it's just, it's just bland and horrid. And perhaps, to be honest with you, That's what Facebook has become. I mean, let's look at the Facebook redesign. That redesign is bland and horrid versus, say, Google and Google Plus, which is much prettier to look at. So I think, to be honest, the advert kind of sums up what Facebook has become post-IPO.
Mush.
Mush.
Well, and of course, I mean, the timing to this as well. This ad comes at the same time that they get 1 billion, or they claim they've got 1 billion users. Who believes they've got 1 billion users? Really?
Well, I found it interesting that they start claiming the 1 billion fans at the same time they start running this like real name fake fan weeding out program. It seems a little bit counterintuitive, but
well, the way that works is you cross your threshold of that magic number that you want, and then you start chucking out all the bad accounts at the same time that you're gaining new ones,
right.
So that your quality control gets better and better without you falling below that magic number. And let's face it, what's cooler than $1 million? $1 billion. What's cooler than 1 million fans? 1 billion fans. 1 billion seems to be Zuckerberg's magic number. I've got something else I want to show you, though. Can you see that one on the big screen? I don't know if you can read that. I'll read out some of them for you. This is a nice little chart, infographic, if you will, breaking down the Facebook fan numbers. So the first quadrant you see here, yes, that's the fake accounts used by teenagers to fool their parents, the fake accounts used by workers to fool their bosses, fake accounts used by spouses to fool their spouses, fake accounts used by anyone smart enough to know not to give Facebook your real information, deleted accounts reactivated accidentally because it's so fracking impossible to permanently delete your account, accounts rarely used because you friended way too many people at first, now you have to start again with real friends. Pets, I know Ali's got one of those accounts.
Don't say that. I don't want Facebook to delete Padstow. If Padstow dies, it's your fault, Oatway.
And there's also one here that says, accounts used by businesses to stalk and control other businesses. And without naming names, because I don't want to out him for what he's doing here in Hong Kong. But a mutual acquaintance of some of ours was telling me at a party the other night that he has several other accounts set up specifically designed to go into his competition, see what they've been doing on their social networking sites, hang out, interact with them on those spaces, just basically do espionage, like spy on what they're up to. And what their service is like, what their offers are, whatever's going on with them. And I was taken aback at first. I was like, oh my God, how could you be doing something so dastardly? But I now realize how foolish I was, how naive to think that this isn't being done by lots of people. Do you guys know anybody who's doing this? Have you heard of this before?
Well, the major companies troll their competitors on keyword type searches. I mean, if you look at some of the high-end social media tools that are sold to corporations, they know everything their other guy is saying, who it's being said to, what their possible spread is, and whatnot. So, on the big end, it's just business intelligence.
And data mining is one thing, right? I mean, that sort of stuff. But this is really This is a business leader, somebody who's quite high up in his company, assuming I kid you not, a woman's identity, fake identity, who poses as a woman, basically puts on a dress, and goes and hangs out on his competitors' Facebook pages. Is that weird? Is that creepy? Is that just standard business today? Jocelyn, would you advise your clients to do that?
Honestly, I haven't heard of anyone doing that. Like, sure, I know like a lot of my clients, or even us as agencies, when we're looking at competitors to the brands that we work for, we spend quite a lot of time on our competitors' pages as well, but it's all open and accessible, so I wouldn't even necessarily think that the espionage or signing up for a different account is necessary, because it's already there.
What would you think, though, if you had looked at one of your clients' pages and you noticed a bunch of people from other agencies were all like hanging out there, where your competing agencies? How would that make you feel? Would you be worried?
I think it's totally normal. We see that all the time.
So there's no need to be secret. There's radical transparency. Zuckerberg's right. Just keep it all open.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies that have developed full strategies around this. I mean, I don't think it's ethical, but forum seating, they're on a lot of like competitive brand categories. There are a lot of competitors who will put seeders out onto their competitor sites to write negative comments to kind of like terrorize community managers of other pages. So we've seen that done before quite a lot as well. So I guess
but not with authentic identity though, right? You wouldn't use your real name to do that.
No, well, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it's done or who's doing it on their behalf, but
Fake
it's definitely
accounts.
happening.
Fake accounts. So yeah, let's not believe the 1 billion number. I think that's probably not quite real. Let's see what are we moving on to here. Anybody else got anything to add on Facebook here before we go on to our next little bit? All right, Red Bull. Who saw the Red Bull jump?
I did.
After the fact.
After the fact?
Yeah,
I think I'm the
3
only
in the
one
morning.
who stayed up until 2:30 in the morning, half expecting to see somebody die. Now, if I can do this right, we'll try and get. So there's what some people are calling a stunt. I have that on the right. Let's see. Oops. You guys seeing that on the big screen?
Yep,
Not on the big screen.
Oh, I'm seeing on the big screen.
Yeah. Things never work like they're supposed to.
I'm seeing Oatway now. Who tweeted that, Red Bull now has a better space program than the United States of America? Somebody,
Yeah, that was a meme that went around the other day.
that was brilliant. Absolutely
It
brilliant.
was on Google Plus.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
That was pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's. I've seen that the tweet was going around. At first, it was like they were saying it's an awkward moment when you realize that your space agency, or that Red Bull's got an energy drink's got a better space program than your nation does. It was then amended, and it's got a better meme going around, is saying that awesome feeling when you realize the free market can produce a better space program than a government. And I agree. I think that's actually a better way to sort of phrase it, that we are in one of those sort of really watershed moments. It makes this more than just a stunt. I don't know why we can't see that one. Anyhow,
I will say, I thought the whole thing was ridiculously stupid until I actually saw the video. And there was this scene that you're seeing right here. When I could see the curve of the Earth, I was like, holy heck, this guy really was up there. And then he went into the flat spin and nearly died. And I was quite a bit more impressed after seeing the video. But beforehand, it just struck me like all these guys. I'm the first guy to circumnavigate the globe with only a pencil and a pack of chewing gum, that you see all the time in the Daily Mail and the Telegraph. It's just like, yeah, okay, that's great. But, it was because we had so much coverage of this, we could see so much of it, I was actually quite a bit more impressed after watching it.
well, I think that's part of the excitement of what was going on here, was that Red Bull had put together quite an amazing video package. They were running live video streaming from 24 miles above the surface of the Earth in full HD. In fact, they were even running some red cameras up there in full 4K, which I guess is going to be made into a BBC documentary very soon. It was a huge technological feat. More impressively was that it was going out live on YouTube and being watched by 8 million concurrent viewers. That's 16 times more than the previous record set back in the summer during the London Olympics, which only had 500,000. I mean, 8 million is a huge number now, and partly this is a sign of the social web, the way that it was being shared by people talking about it on Twitter, by people talking about it on Facebook. We've got some numbers on that, which I'll sort of go through how social was the publicity stunt, as some people call it. I think publicity stunt underrates what was really going on.
Yeah.
It felt like more of one of those, one small step for man moments to me, one giant leap for mankind.
A giant flying session. It was damn freaking cool, though, right?
While the jump was going on, half the worldwide trending topics on Twitter had something to do with it. After the successful landing, Red Bull posted the Baumgartner picture of him sort of kneeling on the ground, which got something like 216,000 likes, 10,000 comments, and more than 29,000 shares in less than 40 minutes. By any measure of social media activity, that is gigantic. By 2 days later, the same post had over 500,000 likes and more than 15,000 comments. Red Bull posted twice more about the jump since Sunday, to over 32.5 million fans on its brand's Facebook page. Just massive numbers, just really, really, really big numbers. Which, given the fact that the Facebook ad had so far 1.3 million views, and Felix jumping out of a hot air balloon has 18.3 million views. I think this is a sort of a fair comparison to sort of say, look, this is how you go about creating social media excitement. You have to do something amazing. You can't just cut together a bunch of stock photos. I think it sets the bar for how we go about doing something social. We have to create an event. I don't think it's about advertising anymore. Jocelyn, you guys out of business?
I don't think it's necessarily, again, I don't think we can look at like any one communications channel in isolation. I think what Red Bull does, they do it very well because they did something so impactful and they planned it so well in terms of the promotion and the live coverage and afterwards. And I don't think it's a matter, I think that advertising and traditional TV spots can still play an important role in different brands' communications. But I think brands do have to think bigger and smarter about the way that they're using them. So I do think Red Bull has set a new precedent, but I wouldn't say that because of this, advertising and all traditional media forms are gone.
Ali, you're going to be doing some big events with World Wildlife Fund, like Earth Hour and things like that. What's your take on it? I mean, do you think big events, big wow events, are the key to social?
I'm definitely going to be jumping out of a capsule above space
with your dog.
But with the lights turned out.
Yeah, with no lights on, right? No, I agree with you, Mr. Oatway. I think the Red Bull event was phenomenal. Let's be honest, what he did. I mean, breaking the sound barrier is pretty incredible. It got the views it got all the retweets because it was that incredible, because it is Red Bull. I mean, remember, it took them 5 years to do this. So this is not something that every brand can do. You know, Red Bull has a massive entertainment budget and a massive brand budget. My question would be, you know, if we actually looked at the ROI of this, you know, for 5 years, I mean, for taking out NASA, space control, and all the technology they built, you know, did they make a profit out of this event? I doubt they did in that sense. I think they did it just because it's freaking cool PR and it was an amazing Red Bull style. This is the biggest thing we can ever do. So I do agree with Jocelyn. It's going to be different strokes for different brands. But Red Bull, this was a brilliant success. Let's be honest. We all knew it was Red Bull. You couldn't miss Red Bull.
You know, on that very point about return on investment, they've done a study already estimating the return on this as being about 48 million US in marketing value alone to Red Bull. Zenith, which gave him the watch, is estimated to get about 12 million. And this is a study from Front Row Analytics that's being quoted in some of the marketing press right now. The overall value of the jump is approximately 60 million US in marketing exposure. But I don't know how much they spent, Ali. They must have spent a large portion of that on all these toys.
Yeah.
Well, there's also, like I said, I think there's a deal with BBC. They've got some. They've been promising like a 2-hour special or something coming out on this. So there's obviously more media deals behind it as well. And this is obviously one of the biggest things Red Bull's ever done. They that very same day here in Hong Kong, they'd staged the first annual soapbox race, which I tried to attend, but silly me, I got there a mere sort of half hour before it began, and there was already, I don't know, 150,000 people.
Crazy.
And look, Sha Tin, tons of public housing estates around them. For those of you not in Hong Kong, Sha Tin is a part of the New Territories, sort of a bit away from the main city, but certainly a place where there's a lot of people who don't have a lot of entertainment options for a Sunday afternoon. And a free Red Bull soapbox race down the side of a mountain attracts a lot of people. And it attracted so many people, in fact, that the police were starting to turn people away by 3 o'clock. It was madness. It was poorly organized, not so well planned, and it certainly could have used a live stream YouTube video for all the hundreds and thousands of people who want to go who couldn't make it. But so yes, Red Bull does stunts, and then sometimes Red Bull does something like this, which probably has greater scientific value than it has. A lot of people saying, well, look, space tourism's coming up. Maybe all of us will be going to space someday. Even one of Richard Branson's spaceship, Virgin Galactic things. What if something goes wrong? What if we all need to bail out? Well, Felix has sort of laid some groundwork for that. So there's possibly more in terms of return on this from the aerospace industry down the line than say there is from a soapbox race.
Yeah. I think though what's also interesting to look at Red Bull is they made the decision how many years ago that they were no longer going to invest in traditional media, which fits so well to their essence as a brand being all about adventure and that kind of adventurous thrill and spirit. And I think that's why this fits so well for them. And I guess being able to own that and always be one-upping each other, I think there are a lot of things from that brands can learn in terms of their own communications innovation, however way they decide to do that works for their who their brand is, I guess.
Yeah, I really agree that the Red Bull understands what their story is, and that their story is adventure, and that they do everything they can to tap into every adventure community that's out there and try and support them in some sort of fun and interesting way. And I think that makes them quite special amongst brands who often don't get to know what their story is terribly well, what makes them special, and don't spend on the community, but rather spend on themselves trying to convert people to become part of their community, rather than going out and finding existing communities and joining them. And again, I think that's what makes Red Bull an incredibly social company over a lot of competitors.
I will say one thing: I've never had a Red Bull in my life.
Madness.
All right. Well, any final thoughts, Mr. Bullock, on anything here?
I think Andrew needs to have a Red Bull and then go jump at the top of his building.
Try it out, maybe.
Yeah, try it, man. Gives you wind.
The new GoPro Hero came out this week, which is the adventure camera, the HD video camera.
Right, and Felix had one GoPro on his body on the way down.
Yeah, and I was looking at that, and I was like, well, taking a taxi to the pub really doesn't justify buying a GoPro camera. It wouldn't make their highlight reel. C'est la vie.
But it is about being social everywhere we go. Live streaming, I suppose, every misadventure. Jocelyn, parting thoughts on this Friday? You
caught me off guard now. Well, I don't know. I guess I just think it's awesome what Red Bull did, and I mean, when we look at it in comparison to Facebook as well, I guess we've seen a lot of innovation from Facebook over the years as a company, and whether they're going in this more corporate direction or not, I guess it's being they kind of lacked that ability to be able to extend their own story into a new media, into this, video that they did, which is something that perhaps they can learn from brands like Redbull, which is kind of ironic because Facebook and other social tools spawned from Facebook are part of what has led to Red Bull's success. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there.
I agree. I think that if we have to pick a winner today between Facebook and Red Bull, I think we're in agreement that Red Bull came out on top on this one. Yeah, knockout punch.
Yeah, for sure.
Knockout punch. Yeah. 100%.
Fantastic. All right. This once again concludes what I'm actually going to call episode 2 of Social Currents. We attempted this last week from the sunny outdoor setting of the IFC, and our cellular mobile data networks just weren't up to the task. Apologies for those of you who tuned in and missed us last week. We will be back again next Friday at the same time. As the election in the U.S. is drawing near, we're going to be looking, I think, more at politics. And I think for our HK Social coming up on November 2nd, I believe, we will have Ash Phillips from Storyful, along with a couple other journalists, possibly, joining us. And we're going to be talking about social and politics. And I think, hopefully, with a bit of luck, next Friday we'll have a little sneak peek on some of that stuff. And I think that's it for my list of things. Anybody else have anything they want to plug? This is your Friday free plug zone. Anything?
I think if anybody wants a little laugh today, they should Google body form Facebook video.
Oh, that was so awesome!
Now that's a little viral story that just popped up yesterday, so we couldn't get it on the subject today. But the body form reply to a Facebook post will give you a laugh.
I loved that.
And that was the guy who was upset that he'd been misled by particularly the blue fluid used in feminine hygiene ads. And his expression of joy that women all seem to have in those commercials.
Riding horses.
Once again, social media to the rescue, distributing mainstream media. Yes, go have a look if you haven't seen that. Definitely one of the memes of the week that are floating around. Also for memes of the week, binders full of women. There's remix videos out there galore. Even a whole Tumblr site, binders full of all sorts of things. And how about Ali? Anything else you want to plug? Anything going on at the World Wildlife Fund?
Nothing major going on. We're just saving the planet. So we'll leave all that good stuff, all the panda videos, to HK Social on November.
All right. Jocelyn, Digital Arts Network, anything you want to plug?
Oh, no, we're all good for now.
All right. So I'm Jay Oatway with Jocelyn, who we will edit this to put on your Twitter following. Same with Andrew. You can find him at Penguin6. Jocelyn is JLIIP. And Ali is at Ali Bullock. I am at J Oatway. That's JAYOATWAY. Please drop by Twitter, say hello, add us to circles here on G+. Let us know what you thought of the show today, what we can work on to improve it, what you'd like to see on the show in the future. We're always open to suggestions and feedback. And that's it. Have a great week and be social. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.